The Democratic Republic of Congo is currently in talks with the USA for protection from a rebel militia group named M23, allegedly connected with the government of Rwanda in the eastern regions of the DRC. Ladies and gentlemen, particularly in the North Kivu province. They want the US government to come in and help them take back their mineral sites and lands from the hands of the M23 in Goma and in one town called Bukavu. These are places known for their abundance in coltan and gold deposits. By the way, coltan is a mineral which is actually cobalt tantalite, and it's used to make capacitors for mobile phones, computers, and electronics. Folks, my name is Cyrus from Accra, Ghana, and this is Tuntum Network. Be sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell for more of my videos. We have to talk about this. Let's get into it. Now, this story was first published by Reuters.com on the 3rd of April this year. This is the president of the DRC, President Felix Tshisekedi. He is a man I've personally seen with my own two eyes in Ghana. He's a fine gentleman who had good plans for his country. But in recent times, I'm not sure if he still has it or not, because this is the exact playbook the West wants the DRC and Africa to follow, and it appears they are doing the exact same thing. The DRC is the most naturally resourced country in the world by far, and every country knows it, especially countries that are into mass production of something. They all want to have a piece of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The most valuable minerals in this era are coltan and cobalt for electric cars, phones, and renewable energy. And the DRC alone produces 70% of the world's cobalt. You have what the world wants, but my problem is, why would you want to give it away so easily, DRC? Does it mean no African country can on their own solve any problems? This is the map of the DRC and Rwanda. If indeed the M23 forces are backed by the Rwandan government, can't we resolve this problem on our own, ladies and gentlemen? Can't President Felix and President Paul Kagame sit down and agree on what to do without bringing in an outsider? For those who didn't know much about this issue, let me update you. When you follow the story around this problem from the beginning in 2012, everything suggests that this M23 or the March 23 movement couldn't have been created without the involvement of the Rwandan government. This is actually a fact. Yet President Paul Kagame continues to deny or accept Rwanda's involvement. He never really answers that question.
Are Rwandan military forces present in DRC for whatever reason?
Can you answer my question as well? I'm not obliged to answer your question if you are not ready to answer my question. And this is what I tell the Western countries and others who raise these matters. Why would Rwanda be in Congo? That question needs to be asked, or supporting M23 needs to be asked by anyone who wants to understand the problem and even later on deal with it. Because you have to understand what is M23. How did they come about? Rwanda did not create M23. How do they explain that we have refugees, 100,000 people persecuted in Eastern Congo because of their identity? And now they want to turn them into Rwandan citizens when they are Congolese? And everybody is talking about these accusations?
In fact, the United Nations in 2013 actually stated that this group was created and backed by the Rwandan government. So definitely Rwanda is involved. And most assuredly, they are involved with the backing of some outside influence. But my argument is this, ladies and gentlemen. This is the exact playbook, the strategy the West has used on us since the first time they came around. They create confusion by backing one African group against the other African group, and the suffering group cries to the Western, the same Western masterminds behind the whole problem, to come and resolve their problem. This has never changed. They divide and then they conquer. It's exactly what's happening here, and it's a shame, ladies and gentlemen, that President Felix of DRC is going into a deal with the USA and not a deal with Paul Kagame. Yes, I mean, it's better to strategize with our neighbors than to throw it to the outsider. There is no way you can convince me that the Congo cannot develop its own resources. These are resources the world is desperately looking for. What you need is to hire experts, if you don't have the people with the technical know-how from your country, to develop them and bring them in. You bring them in, they mine the resources for you, and you add value to it, and then you sell. This is the problem I have with African leaders. You just want to get whatever you can get your hands on in that short frame of time within your presidency before you either lose power or get thrown out. You do all these things to bring in protection for your presidency, which doesn't actually help the people in the long term. It's all about your continuous stay in power for your parochial interests. If that's not the case, I don't know why you cannot resolve the problem and have total control over your own resources. Listen, Trump and the USA will do what's best for America at all times. But who is going to be doing what's best for our countries in Africa? When will our African countries use our own resources to industrialize? As for the USA, they will gladly come in and eventually take more than 1,000-fold from us. In fact, they are already there taking it. Tesla is there. Microsoft and Apple can't wait to officially have the doors of DRC open to them for them to come in with their investment and milk the land dry. And per the information making rounds from the White House, they have used US aid and CIA to destabilize countries and remove governments in different parts of the world for so long a time. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot be naive if you're a president in Africa, especially now. Has Africa grown, or have we learned anything? Are we watching the news and thinking of ways to get better? Just this Wednesday, 2nd April of this year, CNN reported that the 3 Americans who were caught in the attempt of a coup in the DRC have had their death penalty sentence commuted into life in prison by the president of the DRC. How coincidental, how convenient is that when there is an official communication that the US government officials are due to visit Congo, ladies and gentlemen. So now, instead of sending them to be unalived for trying to topple an African government, which could have plunged the whole country into chaos, turned it upside down, they would rather be kept in the prison for life. This is comical. I've always known African presidents to not be serious, but this level is comical. Before you know it, these coup plotters are back in their home countries living their best lives. It appears Africa is that continent where anyone can just come in and take whatever they want, as long as they want and as much as they want, and get away with it. President Paul Kagame has never been clear with his involvement with the M23. President Tshisekedi has no clue what to do with the situation since he took office in 2019. Nobody speaks simple English anymore. Now, President Felix is officially bringing in Americans for support. This is what the U.S. senior advisor, Masad Boulos, said after meeting the president of Congo in Kinshasa. And I paraphrase, ladies and gentlemen. You have heard about a minerals agreement. We have reviewed Congo's proposal. The president and I have agreed on a path forward for its development. Ladies and gentlemen, a proposal is already on the table for the U.S. And so, buckle up. When 2 elephants continue to fight, the earth suffers and nothing gets done. We have never learned our lessons. And until we do, we will continue to suffer as a continent. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for making time to watch this episode. Be generous to subscribe and click on the notification bell if you haven't done that already. I'll come your way with another one. Until then, God bless Africa, and it's bye-bye for now.